Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sterling Live. My name is Caitlin Brower. I'm Sterling's Director of PR and Social Media, and also your host for Sterling Live. I'm so excited for today's episode. You guys are in for a real treat. We've got a great topic and a great guest. So let me go ahead and introduce her. Today's guest is Candice Ray, Associate Vice President, Client Success for Tech and Business Services. And as you can see on the bottom of our screen, our topic today is client success at Sterling, a deep dive into our global support structure. Candice, I've been waiting for this episode. We're so excited to have you on. Thank you for joining me. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience, share a little bit about your role at Sterling?
Absolutely. It's my pleasure to be here, Caitlin. Thank you so much for inviting me over. As you mentioned, my name is Candice Ray. I'm the Associate Vice President in Client Success for Technology and Business Services Commercial Group. I started my journey with Sterling over almost 8 years ago. I'll be completing my 8 years in coming June. It's been an exciting journey. I started as a client success partner, and now I'm part of the leadership team and very grateful for the opportunity that I've got through Sterling. Overall, I have 14 years of experience in a client-facing team. And presently, I oversee a team of client success partners and leads supporting our clients' end-to-end needs, and primarily in the mid-market business. My role here is to enable our client success partner with all the resources and act as an additional layer of support, leading strategic and tactical conversation, promoting ultimately a retention and a business growth supported by my team. In a nutshell, if I were to say, I assist and enable my support team to ensure that our client have ultimate success with their background screening program with Sterling.
Great. Thank you for that introduction and an early congratulations on 8 years. So who knows, maybe we'll have you back on Sterling Live then and we can talk about it and congratulate you in real time. But, great experience you have, great support structure for your team. And I can't wait to dig a little bit deeper into that today with you. So I want to take this time to remind our audience, if you are watching live on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, if you have any questions for Candice throughout the episode, please go ahead and put them in the comment section across all three of these social media platforms, and I will get them over to her as I see fit throughout the episode. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with an overview of client success. So, Candice, how does the verticalized structure of Sterling lend itself to greater client support?
Yeah, so let me give you a little background. So we here at Sterling have categorized our client based on their industry need to ensure that we are providing them relevant subject matter expertise and what we call it as a practice area. And the Technology and Business Commercial Group currently comprises of various practice areas such as financial business services, retail, staffing, technology, media, entertainment, hospitality, and consumer gig. So the primary idea behind the verticalization truly drives from one of our core value, that is client is in the room. And when you start to think from this perspective, you truly start to realize the pain point on a ground level and how you can look to solve for those pain points. And one of the biggest pain points that we had come to realize is our client and candidate experience, which is why we've built around that idea on how we can look to provide a focused and a meaningful support system that would cater to clients and candidates' need. And verticalized support structure has helped us compartmentalizing much needed focused attention based on respective practice area needs, provide deep industry knowledge, share best practices, recommendation, and build around a meaningful partnership with our client, leading to ultimately helping in mitigate risk and assist in onboarding a good hire. So when I talk about a little bit about our client support structure, we actually took a greater look at how we can look to support and sophisticate overall structure by adding a multi-layer support system within it to help cater every type of business model, right? Starting from small, medium, large to even an enterprise level. And based on the complexity of a client's business and the level of attention required, we then look to assign a support model that would cater to their every business need. And that's where we believe our client success support team is one of our key differentiator
Yeah.
on how we look to engage with our client. And, taking a little bit deep dive into our support structure, a typical client support structure for any clients would be comprised of two-tier support, right? That would help us enable uniquely partnering with our client to ensure that we have a fully optimized solution in front of our client.
Yeah.
So our first level of engagement starts with our day-to-day support, right? Acting as a true base to our client facing. So all your your general question related coming from your talent acquisition team, from your recruitment team around basic background screening result regarding background screening statuses, all those goes to our day-to-day support team, which is then assisted by as a second tier of support, which is our client success partners. And I would say they are an integral part of our client success team because they are the true advocate on our client's behalf, leading strategic conversation and acting as a first point of escalation for our clients, engaging with internal key stakeholders, addressing any challenges that are being highlighted by our client, providing timely recommendations, staying proactively engaged, and acting as a critical link between client and Sterling to provide through and through support, ensuring that their program is fully optimized, their performance is at par when they are interacting with Sterling. And to conclude our entire support structure, I would want to say that we do have our practice specific leaders that are acting and enabling an additional layer of engagement, such as myself, in engaging in strategic and tactical conversation and acting as another point of escalation along with our executive leadership team, delivering ultimate success.
No, that's great. And, you touched on two things that I want to, understand a little bit more. So you brought up optimization and you brought up that relationship kind of with that client success part and the client. So we'll get into that. But I do have a question before we get into that. And it's how, so everything that you just explained, that support structure and how we're helping our clients. So that's great. So how does now Sterling tailor background screening solutions to meet what you had mentioned, specific needs of individual clients?
Yeah. So as I mentioned that, we align every client under respective practice area. And the benefit about this verticalization is that we are working with similar type of industries client that help us share best practices around what's working well for them and what are the best practices that we can look to replicate and how we can further look to fine tune the processes and workflow in building the tailored solution. So taking a little deep dive into the process, the initial step in building any tailored solution is scoping, right? And that is where that plays a vital role in implementing efficient program. And our PSG team really kind of drives the initial engagement to uncover and understand individuals' clients' business requirement, which is then layered with our industry best practices. That is where Sterling heavily focuses on conducting timely industry analysis through various means, right? Some of them are conducting regular survey, partnering with industry specific expert to get an insight on current trends, getting regular updates from our dedicated compliance team, hosting leadership council to have an open conversation around what's working well and how, if they have any best practices around overall hiring process. These all means actually helps us creating a practice area specific baseline acting as a benchmarking, right? That serves as a good starting point to establish and help define clients' base need, which is then paired with clients' business focus, their regulatory requirement, types of job position, global presence, and last but not the least, clients' risk appetite, right? And based on this productive conversation, we then create and prepare our recommendation covering an entry level position to an executive investigation covering all bases. So we are creating a simplified yet a tailored solution. And I would say our PSG team and our client success team does a fantastic job in enhancing overall experience by helping build this tailored solution based on individuals' clients' preference.
I would say they do a fantastic job as well. I see the feedback from clients. I'm in marketing. I see what we get and what we're able to put out there, and it is truly remarkable to see that feedback. So the teams are doing a tremendous job, like you had said. I liked when earlier you had called out this being a key differentiator for us. Being so industry focused and just tailoring solutions per business, because not everyone's hiring the same way. You just had said that there's entry level, there's executives, and there's everybody in between. There's different ways of hiring. Is a hiring process long? Is it short? And Sterling comes in and makes sure that we're addressing every type of difference that any type of organization may have. So I think all of that is great. One of the things you had mentioned earlier too was optimizing. So as we are tailoring these background screening programs, how is your team staying proactive and identifying and optimizing this program as well?
Absolutely. We have a unique way on how we like to stay proactive on everything that is going around in the industry. And we would start really on a ground level, right? And this is where the partnership between our day-to-day support contact and our client success partner becomes imperative and truly act as an early indicator where our day-to-day point of contacts are acting as a ear on the ground, understanding the trend, and then imparting that information with our client success partners so that we can work our strategic initiative through and work our way up to it. And another way that we like to stay proactively engaged is by imparting compliance updates and regulatory updates in a proactive manner, as a lot of our clients would agree to it, that compliance changes plays a major role in shifting the entire hiring workflow. And I am sure that our clients would agree that we see these changes more often than we'd like to see it. So in order for us to stay ahead of game and to ensure that we are having clear line of communication with our clients, we assign a smaller book of business to the team supporting these programs so that they can build on that relationship and share these updates and these best practices in a timely manner. And we can discuss through the impact on hiring workflows and processes and potentially provide a solution or a next step to help guide our client on what's coming in and how they can utilize or how they can best use of these updates. I do want to say, now that I think about optimization, one of the classic examples that I could think of is individualized assessment, right? As a lot of our clients know, that more and more jurisdictions are now looking to have individualized assessment added mandatorily as part of the adverse action process. And the way that we've been able to communicate ahead of time with our client and provide a potential solution where we are able to deliver individualized assessment through our digital adverse action process, building a small but a critical compliance piece, making sure that our client is compliant, and how we are able to provide a solution that can be fully optimized from a screening process standpoint. I do have more example to kind of go over. There are tons that I can think of, but I think one of the ways, which is really small again, but I think it's important that, and we share these updates with our clients in a timely manner, is that how we can look to build an optimized solution by simplifying our clients' hiring specific criteria, right? Based on their job position, their industry, and which is where I think one of our features of client adjudication matrix kind of helps drive that solution. The way it kind of works, as you know, a lot of us know, some industry have more risk appetite than the others, right? So we can truly help predefine these hiring criteria based on these best practices and based on what is acceptable to an organization to create a baseline of what screening outcome can be flagged as review versus pass, right? Taking one step further in streamlining overall hiring process and reducing manual work from the client's end and helping making a quick hiring decision, ultimately reducing time to hire, right? An example would be smaller discrepancy related to employment or an education verification can be accepted for some organization. We can look to filter out these discrepancy based on this predefined criteria, part of our adjudication matrix to fully kind of optimize, provide an optimized solution.
Well, we do love, real-time examples. So those are always welcome for our audience. So any type of example you have, please share. You have so far have mentioned the role of the client success partner a couple of times. And just for our audience, if we throw around the word CSP, that's what we mean by that too. So a client success partner. Let's move into that. I want to talk about the client success partner and the client and what that relationship looks like. So what are our typical interactions and touch points, between these two parties?
Yeah. So apart from our clients and candidate reaching out to us, which is primarily sort of a reactive way of interacting with our client, I think we believe in staying proactively engaged, right? And the way we do is we have our cadences, regular cadences, which serves as a primary touch base point with our client as a part of proactive engagement. And these cadences are typically scheduled on a monthly or on a biweekly basis. Depending upon clients' requirement, the frequency can be altered if an additional level of attention is required. And then that is where, and these cadences really kind of helps us initiate conversation around imparting these updates ahead of time and, staying engaging with client ahead of time to make sure the changes that are coming in and how they can look to prepare themselves better. Other than these regular cadences, I think another means that where we place a important focus is scheduling periodic business review, which truly act as a focal point for us to take a deep dive into clients' performance and taking that platform as an opportunity to discuss through some of the program trends that we've observed within their program and how we can look to further improve upon it. If we found any area of opportunities or if there are any ongoing technological advancements that we are currently working through that can help further improve upon their client and candidate experience, these periodic business review creates a great mean in delivering those information and having an open conversation, right? Because for us, it is extremely important for us to have an open conversation so that way we are able to discuss through any feedback or any business changes or challenges that client would like to put forward in front of us so that we can continue to be a better partner and ensuring that we are aligning our organizational goals in according to clients' need and what they are seeing in the market and where they would like us to evolve based on their future investment, right? Which is where our business review conversation becomes a focal point. And Last but not the least, right, we like to stay engaged with broadcast updates. We send monthly roundup emails to our clients. We host webinars such as these to provide an insight on current affairs and get a sneak peek around what Sterling has to offer from a pipeline perspective and where we can truly look to support clients' program.
Well, I am honored that Sterling Live is one of the touch points. So I know this is, but it is an avenue where we do get a lot of information out. So I'm happy to hear that. You just mapped out a lot of other touch points as well, a lot of lines of communications, how we're partnering with our clients. So when we're doing all of these things, which is great, what metrics are these client success teams looking at to make sure that we're tracking success properly?
Yeah, and that's an interesting perspective, right? So I would answer it in a two part. So one of the way we do have our basic key performance indicator that helps us drive the right culture and a behavior within the team and how we can look to improve upon our partnership with our client. And we do track this parameter in various categories such as measurable indicators such as managing service agreement, frequency of client engagement, hosting business reviews, which are truly a black and white indicator to evaluate individuals' performance standpoint, right? But when it comes to tracking clients' program success, which is where we take a little different approach, and we believed in measuring client success based on clients' direct feedback and how these feedback kind of come through to us truly kind of resonate on how if we are heading in the right direction. And these feedbacks can come through any means, right? It could be part of any post interaction survey where our clients are reaching out to our general support team and then they are getting a survey and they are providing us a feedback, or having a direct conversation, or having a direct conversation between a client and our leadership team, right? That has helped us build another level of honest conversation and truly a strategic engagement, which ensures that we are understanding clients' organizational goal and whether we are heading in the right direction. And that feedback is taken very, very seriously here, and we strive to act upon it fairly quickly by discussing if there are any areas of opportunity and how we can look through or provide an action plan to have them addressed promptly. And we also have our subject matter expertise internally. Even they are brought on board where necessary to ensure that we have a right set of presence based on the feedback that we are receiving from our clients. And based on this model and how we've been able to work through it, we are actually seeing more and more clients becoming a strong reference for Sterling, which is helping us ultimately in tracking our client success and increasing our retention rate, right? And I really believe that this is a true measurement and a testimony of our client success and echoing our track to success. And same scale is not only optimized on a regional level, but truly this is the same approach that we are following through across the board, even for our global structure, helping our clients transitioning from a regional to a global level.
The feedback that we get is critical, like you have said. I've been with Sterling for almost 5 years now, and I've seen the business make changes based off of client feedback. I've seen us win businesses, partnering with new businesses based off of feedback. So it really is tremendous, what we receive and how Sterling acts upon it. And we do, like you have just said. Before, you ended on global, and I want to go into global a little bit more because I know that's, big for us, big for a lot of businesses out there. I do want to mention that Sterling Sterling Live is 100% pet friendly, Candice. So I know your dog popped in earlier, and I hope everyone got to see because adorable. So we've had cats, dogs, children on Sterling Live. We are friendly for everybody. So I hope he makes an appearance again. But we will go into global and implementations now. I want to talk more a little bit about that. We have had a couple of episodes talking about the implementation process. I think it's definitely an area where some organizations get a little nervous. How long is this going to take? Is it going to be a big lift? How will Sterling support me? So can we talk a little bit more about implementations, but on that global level?
Absolutely. And I'll try to keep it on a high level
Yeah.
because, as we all know, global screening is absolutely complex. So, as we've said earlier, Sterling is one of the top organization in the industry, providing a comprehensive global screening solution in 195 countries today. And and providing a robust solution is not easy. There are a lot of complexity associated to it, which is where we have our dedicated compliance team that continuously ensures and monitors that the correct guidelines are being followed across the board. And the way that we ensure is that we collaborate with a lot of local subject matter expertise in respective countries and region to get an insight on best practices that are being followed throughout the industry and how we can look to deliver a best turnaround time. And and based on these intelligence, the collaboration and the partnership with various partners, we have created our proprietary country-specific fact sheet, which truly outlines our Sterling's offering for each country, talking about the best practices that to be followed within the country, the fulfillment requirement, the average turnaround time, and the restrictions, right? There are so many countries that have various restriction on how we can look to fulfill screening. It is, I think, imperative for our clients to understand that ahead of time so that they are able to scope out those requirements more categorically. And then we present them with our recommendation to better prepare them for the global onboarding process and set a right expectation from a time to hire perspective, right? Because global screening, because of the complexity, the turnaround time can vary from 5 days to 30 days, right? So it is imperative to have that clear sight in front of our client on how they need to look to implement and onboard candidates specifically when they are hiring globally. And not only that, we also heavily focus on our candidate experience, specifically on global front, which is where our candidate portal is intuitive to address and provide all necessary consent form requirement ahead of time as part of the background screening process, compartmentalizing each requirement under a specific category based on their address history and a location of employment. As clients dealing in global requirement knows that how those two components play a major role in defining what sort of documentation that needs to be presented in front of the client. And then to further ease out the candidate experience, we do support 16 different languages on the candidate portal for our candidates to easily navigate through the screening process and provide them with all the necessary details in a local language, helping in elevating overall experience and making a difference and helping in seamless implementation.
Yeah, I mean, global hiring, like you said, is complex. There is no way to hide from it. I appreciate much how Sterling embraces the complexity and really sets our clients up for success in the ways that you had just mentioned, but in many, many other ways as well. Candice, I know you had brought up, collaboration with, from a global scale, collaborating with, local markets, subject matter experts to really understand things. I'd like to learn more though about the collaboration internally at Sterling, with an implementation. So it's the collaboration between your team, the implementations team, global operations, and anyone else who's involved in this process. Can you touch a little bit more on that collaboration?
Absolutely. Collaboration is a critical focus point for Sterling to stay organized and ahead of game on how we can look to deliver outstanding turnaround time with a seamless process. And I would have this categorized in two manner, internal and external, right? So, talking about our internal implementation and collaboration standpoint, we do have our dedicated fulfillment team in each region managing end-to-end process, starting from data collection to once the data is collected, a lot of time our candidate miss out on providing minor information such as maiden's name or providing a part of document. But as the complexity and requirement varies for each country, I think it's imperative for us to coordinate with our clients and candidates to obtain on that missing information. And then working with ultimately the true source to help fulfill the order and ensuring that the quality checks are being done internally to have our compliance at play, ensuring that we are reporting the results that are meaningful and helps client make a good hiring decision. And when it comes to our collaboration with external team, we do partner and collaborate with local subject matter expertise to stay ahead. And we truly focuses on improving on where we can look to automate these external fulfillment method if there are any partners out there that can help us improve upon our existing fulfillment method from a manual to an automated way. And one of the recent collaboration that I can think of and which has worked really well is our partnership with Yoti. Yoti is one of the strongest key player in providing digital identity verification solution primarily in the UK, and that's how we kind of started our partnership in delivering digital identity solution in the UK to fulfill our criminal and right to work check within that country. But now we are actually looking to optimize the same technology on a global scale. And we are now looking to leverage that technology and have a digital identity solution to be implemented on a global level. So that way we are able to not only improve upon where we can, but how we can look to further leverage the same technology on a larger scale. And apart from our fulfillment and collaborating with our external vendors, let's not forget our key differentiator is our global candidate and client support team, right? Because ultimately we aim to provide a global support locally, which is where our dedicated regional specific support team kind of helps in providing end-to-end support in front of our client and our candidate. And we have replicated similar type of two-tiered structure support even on a global level that starts off with a day-to-day interaction to take it further with our strategic level engagement. And for our candidates, we do have our regional specific candidate support team that works in local hours, providing them real-time support, completing a full circle in managing clients' global program efficiently and effectively.
It is really great to see just so many individuals coming together to make sure that our clients are set up for that success that we're putting forward there. So I do appreciate, everything that you've outlined. Earlier you had mentioned, the interactions that, we have with our clients. And, you had mentioned being proactive in certain things that, we talk about and we share. So we clearly share what's going on, some trends that we're seeing and everything like that. So what are the latest trends in background screening that, your team likes to share with clients?
Yeah. Based on industry, we do have specific trends that we are seeing, and we try to provide best practices around it. But if I were to look at holistically, what we are seeing is rise in frauds. And honestly, we are actually hearing it on a daily basis. In fact, during one of our leadership council meeting earlier this week, we saw almost every client talking about increasing in bad actors, and how a lot of time, or rather most of the time, they don't even realize it until what's happening until the bad actor is already placed within the organization, right? And this is truly leading to damages in companies' reputation, disturbance in work ethics, and of course, adverse impact to companies' financial. Um, Thinking about today, digital world, talking about AI being utilized in everyday interaction, I think it has become more imperative for individuals and organization to validate individuals' identity to ensure who they say they are. And Sterling's identity solution has helped a lot of our clients uncover these bad actors ahead of time, protecting organization from these frauds and acting it as a strong risk mitigator. So my recommendation would be really to have something placed proactively to identify these bad actors ahead of time. And I think it would be a responsible thing to do for any organization to strengthen the background screening program strategically to avoid these bad hires. So I can confidently say that every client who have implemented identity solution as part of their background screening program have seen more number of cases being reported because of the right individual identity being validated, and creating a comprehensive screening solution helping in mitigating unwanted risk.
Well, it's great to have, that real-time data from this week, meeting with some of our clients. It is something that Sterling does regularly with these roundtables and just gathering feedback from professionals in many different industries, excuse me. So definitely, interesting to hear that, we heard it this week and now we're reporting back on it, but you're able to, Candice, to provide a solution for a lot of people that Sterling does have. So definitely appreciate that recommendation for organization. You can learn about our identity solutions all over social media, all over our website. So there's definitely more information there. I want to gather some final thoughts from you for today. But before I do, I want to take this final moment for our audience. If you are watching live on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, if you have any questions, last call for Candice, just pop them in the comment section and I'll get them over as we end the episode. But yeah, Candice, great discussion today. A lot of really good information, behind like the intricacies and the strategy of how we're supporting our clients at a global scale. Before we end the episode, I'd love to just, sign off with some final thoughts from you.
Yeah, I would say that, our global client success team is an integral part of Sterling. And one of our key differentiator, it truly defines on how we look to partner with our client, how strategically we look to make a difference in their overall background screening experience, and how we evaluate ultimate program success. So we are here to assist our client and be advocate for them. So if you have any questions, if you do need any assistance, please reach out to our client success team and we'll be there to support you.
Absolutely. Please do reach out. Any support, any type of questions. We are definitely here to help. Candice, like I'd said, really incredible episode. A lot of really good information. Was so happy to have you on. I loved the cameo from your dog. That was great. It truly was a great episode all around. I want to thank you for being my guest today. I want to thank our audience for tuning in live or watching it on demand. Either way is fine as long as you're watching it. But Candice, again, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Of course. And thank you, everyone else. I will catch you in 2 weeks on the next episode of Sterling Live. So thank you, everyone, and have a great day.